This is Manchester. By day it's run by police, by night it's run by gangsters. Manchester is where I was born, where I live and where I'll die.
Well, I'll introduce you. I'm sitting here with the director, Donal MacIntyre.
I'm sitting here with the producer, Sam Emery, also part-time director, part-time tea maker, cameraman, an all-round good guy, friend and pal and confidant to lesser-known European royalty. There you have it.
40 convictions for armed robbery.
You wouldn't want to be the guy driving behind these guys, would you?
That was you, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was me.
And the thing is, with this shots here, we didn't have any lights, and this was kind of guerrilla filmmaking, so our flamboyant DOP, me, occasionally you, we just drove a car behind them, and the flicker, those lights, well, they were effective.
No, it looked good. I was just very conscious that my foot didn't slip off the pedal, because it would have been slightly disturbing.
Now, this scene here, we shot in the Victorian and Albert Hotel opposite Granada Studios, which pays homage to all the stars from all Coronation Street. And it's a stone's throw from the Hacienda. And of course, all the doormen there knew Dominic, and they were pretty scared. So when we asked, I was there myself, and it was from the first shots we shot.
That was one of the first interviews you did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because we met him, and then you.
I was nervous. That was an autofocus on the Z1, and if you notice, it goes out of focus. So I apologise to everybody watching at home. Watch it.
And one of the gang lads that was about, so I just chopped its head off and carried it inside the pub and put it on the pool table. And more or less told them and asked them to stay away from the Hacienda.
There's a little bit of focus there, you see that?
And they never came back.
What a surprise, they never came back. But that was, I think that was a sense for the first time we, even in the clinical surrounds of the Victorian Albert Hotel, I just needed one brick wall, which defined Manchester and defined him and his background and environment, and that's what we did.
But that was one of the first interviews you did with him. But I suppose then you realised how dangerous perhaps he was, or who he was.
Yeah, we just didn't really have much thinking time. We just couldn't believe we had the access, did we?
Oh, I remember this. This is the first time we went up, I think, together.
Yeah. And you shot this?
Yeah, I shot this. I walked into this house like.
Dominic has 2 children of
Not sure I was ready for this.
You see the size of my fish tank? They're expensive. See them? They're very, very expensive, them. This is Aidan, my godson.
Got his head flushed before, didn't you, mate?
Bugsy, my son.
And he gets his bulletproof vest out. Yeah. I think before this, I don't think I'd ever seen a bulletproof vest.
Watch this. Was this the same madhouse that you had growing up?
Yeah. It was, man.
We learned to hide the radio mics after this, didn't we?
Upstairs and everywhere. When the house went on fire, the whole lot went through.
This is probably the first shoot when we realised that he wasn't just dangerous, but he's also charismatic. He was funny.
Yeah. No, his first joke comes up right now, I think.
Never been used in anger.
I wear it when I'm on meetings. Or when I go out with my mum's for dinner.
That's comedy timing. He's a wisecracking kind of that Irish wisecracking thing where, part of the kind of macho kind of character is taking everyone down with humour. You know.
No, he's definitely. He looks the part.
He looks well there. He lost a bit of weight, didn't he?
He was genuinely a sense of humour.
Cash-laden security vans, and has added one to his private vehicle collection.
Possibly the best fleet of cars I've ever seen.
Ambulances, tanks. Well, he's threatening to buy a tank. Ambulances, a London bus, which doesn't appear in the film. Obviously, the taxi,
security vans,
security car, and of course all the ex-police cars.
Yeah. I seem to remember he was going to call his security company Pole Ice Security.
Oh, yeah, Dash.
Yeah, Dash, exactly.
Now, we at this stage really didn't know whether he was a contemporary criminal. We knew at this stage he was out of jail and apparently going straight, operating in grey areas, right? Security, racketeering. But we didn't really know what. And we didn't really ever see him do anything naughty other than park
No.
badly.
And drive badly. Park and drive badly with his. But I think at this point, especially before we started and sort of the early days, we knew very, very little about him whatsoever.
Now this sequence here of the prison, this is Sally Hilton, our editor, our goddess. She edited this, and she's just a brilliant flair for music, and it's intuitive, her flair. She just dances there. We would bring back the rushes, and honestly, she'd nearly have an orgasm. She'd love it, and she'd say, and then try and kick us out. And so we'd fight and barter for shots and for music, wouldn't we?
Did you say try and kick us out?
Yeah.
No, she definitely kicked us out almost immediately. But
I was made up. Now we've got our own back on them. Sense of justice.
This film did benefit from grading on basslight, and because it's mixed format with DV, Super 8, high definition, DG Beta, and DV Cam, we graded it on basslight, and we couldn't afford it. But at Molinaire's, a production house, basslight were trying to sell this kind of cinematic grading machine and computer and system to Molinaire, so they decided to try it out in this documentary for the first time, which meant that we could address all the failures in my shots and your shots.
yeah, we learned how to use cameras on the job.
It was a training. But we had to. I mean, obviously, shots like this, we got decent cameramen who, Nick Manley and Mike Turnbull, who are our Lattlay Fottfoy, has taken over our saviours.
Yeah, no, where the shots are pretty and the shots are nice, I think we can safely say we were relying on cameramen there.
And this is extraordinary. We were filming at the graveside, and all of a sudden, straight out of central casting, came obviously an old girlfriend of Damien's, right? And you really couldn't have dressed her for the part. I mean, there are moments in this where it does look like something straight out of either Hell is a City or Shameless, or a kind of Mancunian version of The Sopranos.
Completely. And this is the stuff that, I mean, what he says here is fantastic about the lights.
You've seen them. They're thingy, aren't they? Solar power. And they light up and they flicker.
Which is definitely something I'll be looking for on my gravestone.
Solar
powered lights that flicker.
Yeah.
And here we have some of Dominic's rather erratic driving, shall we say.
Loads of armed robbers in Boston.
This was another.
This is a scene. I shot this scene, and it's a bit ropey.
Are you sure you shot this scene?
I think I did. Did I?
No, you did. But perfect timing.
And he was basically outlining, the anatomy of a crime here.
No, we were very lucky that he didn't get out the car and finish the job. Really,
He'd been around. And the terror was that he would at any stage, and we didn't know this. Oh, we'll let this go because
I park up there in the van, and as he comes out, I burst out the door and grab him.
What would you say to him?
Watch the guy behind him jump.
Follow me over here now. You open the fucking door, throw the bags out now. Start throwing them out, quick. You'll do it. Throw the fucking bags out now.
he hardly moved, did he? He didn't move. But that was the moment when you can imagine. I jumped. The camera shake. That was me.
Yeah, no, they're perfectly used to his spontaneous outburst. But I think we both jumped back.
But that's a moment when you can imagine you're a security guard and you're facing that with a gun, and that's the tenor,
Completely, because the first time he says it, throw the bags out, you think, I wouldn't do that. But when he starts, shouting.
If you've gone out deliberately and looked for the chase, it's a buzz.
And here's when he threatens to take me on a police chase.
You were tempted.
So would you go out and deliberately create a chase, provoke a chase?
Many years ago, yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, here's the police now. So we take one now if you want. Watch your shirt to take a fucking chase, Donald. Watch.
Let's not.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
And at any one stage, you'd never know whether he would do that or whether he would have gun or drugs in his car. We didn't know that, and that's why we had to be careful. We didn't know whether he was ever insured, which is why we would only, probably you or I would ever travel in his car, because and we had our own insurance. But you just can't handle this. That's why it's very just ethically really dangerous working with people like this.
I think that every day was a different sort of ethical challenge in terms of
what to film, what to hear, what not to hear.
We had
I mean, the whole point of filming with something like this is to ensure that whatever you do, whatever kind of film you come out with, you come out with clean hands. And it's a difficult prospect because there's a previous film done by Modern Times on a Manchester gangster called Paul Massey, which ended up in a debacle, never being broadcast. I saw the rushes in the BBC archives. I saw the cut film. It wasn't particularly adventurous, and it wasn't on this scale. But the crew ended up being arrested with conspiracy versus course of justice. The guy got arrested for stabbing somebody just recently out of jail, Paul Massey. The point is that if that was a window until the kind of problems we had, this was no less more dangerous.
I think what you say about sort of leaving with clean hands sums it up perfectly, because there's always a case of getting too close and sort of flirting with the danger. And I think you could go either way. Of course, we didn't.
You see this scene here?
You can see this film, so shut your fucking mouth and fuck off. Now.
We left this scene in because it reminded the audience, right, that he's also, as well as it being a documentary, he's got the insight and self-awareness to know that, you know, he's the star of the show on one level, right, and that reminds the audience that this may be a Louis Theroux for gangsters. In between the cracks, you can recognise he's putting on a performance, and it's my job to kind of to give film and to show his world. Whatever facade he may present. And over 3 years it's hard to keep up the same facade. Mm-hmm. And whether we succeeded, well, that's up to the audience. But some people don't recognise, they think that everything should be seen as at the first level. I know some of the reviews said, it's gangster porn. And the guys just aren't seeing the layers. It's absolutely lazy film criticism, you know, because it's about poverty, it's about children, it's about children living lives foretold. Of course, it's about a charismatic character like Dominic, but it's also more complex than that.
I think they can't handle the idea or the notion that you could film sort of these goings on, shoot them well, and film them nice, and add some kind of production values to the film. And I think for them that makes them question the sort of validity of it.
But also they presume...
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
But also they presume that we must have had... If we want to film with the devil, we must have compromised ourselves. And, and the difficulty thing is that they want to believe the worst because they feel that you know, maybe they should be the auteur, maybe they should be taking advantage. Because I can tell you one thing, it fucking annoys me, fucking bad film critics. We're good at our job, we work hard, and they're fucking useless. Well, there was one guy in the Telegraph who said, I'm very worried about this film. Well, what is it? Is it documentary or not? I actually saw a microphone on one of the characters.
That's right, I read that. An eagle-eyed colleague of his had spotted
a microphone.
I mean, it's so eagle-eyed, I mean, I think you can notice it in the second scene, the radio mic, can't you? I mean,
as if having a microphone would possibly compromise the entire film.
I think not having a microphone would compromise the entire film because you wouldn't hear what they were saying. But.
Now, this music here, the reason why we did this is a reflection of kind of the fact that all the characters in this film, they're kind of living in their own movie. And many of the people are kind of in the whole gangster world. And I think there's a recent book been written about this, just published about the Hollywood gangster genre, about the Hollywood gangsters even owning and running parts of Hollywood. But basically what the point of this is that the gangster genre is so pervasive, it's actually fed back in and been cannibalized by the gangsters themselves. And so in with characters like Dominic and the guys in their ill-fitting Reservoir Dogs suits and their kind of the soundtrack of Get Rich or Die Trying in their head, it's hard to know where their own lives start and the movie's big end. And it's so infused, even to the extent where Dominic's crime, he steals a crime from the Godfather, you know, cuts the head off the dog.
Yeah, you wonder who's borrowing from who, really, don't you? Whether it's
But that's the reason why, with the soundtrack and some of the cinematography, was to play some homage.
Yeah,
to
sure.
that. But again, some of the criticism the film has got is that they don't recognise the layers. They think this is cartoon, kind of Ronnie Cray, kind of gangster pornography, and it's rather than, you know, so the more subtle and sophisticated you are, right, the more open you leave yourself up to bad film criticism. That's why the Americans and the French who know their films get it, and some of the reviewers here.
I think they appreciate it. I think a lot of people just don't get it over here.
Ready and waiting.
Yeah, we're already primed.
So how many's in your crew?
There's about 20, but I always keep the young ones around me because they're more loyal, more trustworthy.
And it was something we sort of was always on our mind, is why does Dominic surround himself with all these young guys? And it was. I mean, I think this is where we finally got to the bottom of it.
They'll die for me and I'll die for them.
That they'll die for him, he'll shoot for them.
He called them bullet catchers, didn't he?
That's right. That's right.
Interesting. A lot of people, the questioning this film. You know, I was asked by a one journalist. They said, "Listen, well, you know, young boys. Well, we're not giving anything away because they've seen the film. But young boys, you know, is he a gay man? Is he having sex with underage?" And from everyone we talked to, well, no. And while some people in the community or the police might suggest that if you're gay, you know, and you hang around with young boys or young men, then you're clearly a paedophile. But you know, the reason why we never left that question on camera, because we obviously clearly don't link those things together.
Sure.
And we were never going to leave that stain. It's such a pejorative and heavy stain. But some of the viewers may say, "I wonder, is he?" You know. But from the evidence we had on the ground, no. You know.
No.
But interesting.
And I also think these aren't the kind of guys. They were hanging around because they wanted to hang around. They certainly weren't there against their will.
No.
You know,
and they're all, a lot of these guys, they're all obviously overage. But the
Dickhead, I was getting gripped up for fuck all, so don't take me for some dick. Yeah, you shouting nearly got...
It is interesting. A lot of these guys were genuinely lost and waifs.
Yeah.
That guy, this Craig Fitzpatrick, when he wasn't with Dominic, this is a small guy
on the left.
When he wasn't with Dominic, as a kind of semi-young offender, feral youth in Manchester, he was appearing as a young offender in British legal dramas.
That's right.
Currently in Waterloo.
Yeah.
And what other ones was he in? I mean, he tells us some ads.
Stick of the Dump, because we had a mutual friend, believe it or not, who was a casting director. He said, I know Julie, I know her. And
well, when Craig went to we showed this in Sundance, they said, "Get that guy over here."
Yeah, no, he's actually a genuinely good actor. But he's this was fantastic. Fantastic, and this is when Dominic's been arrested.
Sorry.
Steve said the clamp went through the day.
Dominic was picked up Saturday lunchtime and with the courts closed won't be released until Monday, if at all.
And they just fell to pieces, didn't they? They just fell apart, didn't know what to do.
Can't do it right here, can you? No, go on, just do it.
And we challenged them rather interestingly here.
On the power structure there.
And Audi's pulled up now, and Audi Estates was pulled up, skidded, jumped out, so no one moves, stand against the wall, freeze, put your hands up, let me see your hands and all that.
So why were you two guys fighting?
That was just a little silly argument blown out of proportion.
Because the police were like that, he's giving the police loads, yeah, and I'm just trying to calm down, saying, look, the more you shout, yeah, the more you're just going to get yourself up. They'll just arrest you. I mean, they'll just say, look, sunshine, throw in the back of the van, and he's riding.
It's another one of Dominic's fine vehicles travelling in it.
It's a way of explaining things to people and poking somebody in the face in a public place.
Sorry, that was my shot out of focus.
How do you feel about being the boss?
Oh, God,
It's not the boss, me and him are the oldest.
Yeah.
Simple as.
And we're the younger brothers of the family.
And watch them looking over the shoulder here. And this is coming into a food sequence, which does populate the entire show. Interesting enough, this was a Turkish cafe. Now, when I did MacIntyre Undercover, which is an undercover series, and I did football hooliganism, right across the road from here is Rambo's tattoo parlour, where I got Chelsea tattooed on and fainted. I still have it. But I noticed that they now have kind of Rambo's tattoo removal centre right opposite there. But this is the Turkish cafe where I went to buy get a hot cup of tea in a Mars bar when I fainted from my Chelsea tattoo.
I have done, yeah, and I've been into a young offenders institute.
And how old are you now?
17.
You're 17. So if you weren't working for Dom, what would you be doing?
Acting.
Acting. Right. So who are you acting for?
I've done things for Red Productions, Loving the 21st Century. I've done adverts with Roy Keane and David Beckham.
Really?
I've tried getting him in.
One of my favourite moments coming up.
Yeah.
Do his lines.
Whoa, why do I need to sit and stand and just speak a load of bullshit into a camera? I've got better things to do with time.
I'll tell you one thing, few enough people can do it as well as him, though.
I agree with everything he says there. I mean,
Why would you do it? Because it's better than the real job.
yeah, exactly.
Am I right? Don't know.
But you're part of the crew. Are you part of the crew? Part of Dominic's crew.
Dominic's. I won't say I'm part of his.
He's being defensive here, but when you ask him about the benefits, he suddenly gets excited.
Oh yeah, you do. Everywhere he's going, everywhere.
I like the reactions of those around him, and you'll see them in a minute.
They always, everyone shakes your hand everywhere you go.
I mean, what is he talking
Of course,
about?
you get a bit of a big head standing next to him and all that. He's genuine, man. He's a proper caring person. He's top.
Do you think there'll ever be a day when one of you guys are going to turn grass on the other? Because every criminal gang always has a grass in it.
Well, I'm lucky for those.
So this was on, I think it was on a Saturday, wasn't it? And these guys, because the way it works, I think Dominic was arrested and he wasn't going to get out until the Monday, and so they were sort of at a loss for a weekend. They sort of hang around outside the magistrate's court waiting for his release.
Interesting enough, one of them did turn grass. I won't mention which one, but they did turn grass. So that was quite interesting, isn't it? That
because they were very, definitely a definite no when you asked them. Obviously.
But it's always kind of every kind of gangster city, crime city is a whispering city. That's the phrase they use, the whispering city. I shot this badly again.
A show of force by the local police.
The police pull him in on minor ones.
Sony Z1.
I wonder if they needed this many police cars to remove a taxi.
Well, they were genuinely scared of him with good reason, but he would always take arrest very well. He never jump bail. But 30 police cars to take this. Interesting enough, he was tipped off by somebody in the council that the car was booked beforehand, So he knew this was happening. He made no attempt to kind of evade it.
And I've always wondered with this shot, I think you say you never know what's round the corner, just as the camera comes round the corner. I've always thought, is that purpose, done on purpose?
No, you can go straight, but there's just that, we got that name, got that reputation. The reputation goes...
It's a 360-degree track.
Along with your brothers.
And we struggled to get the finance for it. We begged, borrowed and stole, didn't we? We just worked for free on it for about 2 years.
And now our nephews are going to suffer the same as we get older. They'll suffer the same.
Do you think he genuinely wanted to go straight, or was he's trapped in that world? Do you think? Were there efforts? I mean, there were clear efforts, or no?
I think there were clear efforts, but I think once you're within it, I think it's very difficult to get out. I think he's attracted to it, isn't he? In many ways.
And this is part of his social work. Here's a case where somebody's in trouble with a major gangster for taking a loan. And Dominic explains it now in a second, but
see, I think the sort of all the films, the gangster films that you've probably seen, the Guy Ritchies in this world and those kind of films, these are the scenes that you don't see in those films, and actually this is a large part of what Dominic does and what his life is, and I think that's where the documentary really achieves.
Mick got himself into debt to a London gangster and found himself being threatened to pay up or else. In desperation, he robbed a corner post office, armed with a towel wrapped around his forefinger. He called upon Dominic for help.
And it adds a touch of humour to the film.
Desperate circumstances.
Yeah. He's so candid about it as well.
And expect to walk out.
Fucking stupidity, I think. I walked in, put the bag in through the tray. Said, put the money in the bag and don't do anything stupid. He went, what? I was like, repeating myself. He went, fuck off. Pushed the button. I was like, fuck. Cause I seen it on TV where the fucking shutters come down and the shutters come down at the front. I thought, oh, fucking hell, I'm well stuck here. No. I turned around, looked at the door, it was still like slightly open. I just fucking ran for the door. I was bumped in my car and I was gone.
Was the alarm ringing?
Oh fuck yeah, that's loud that was loud that.
I think he's
incredibly honest though, isn't he?
So honest, but I also think I love Dominic's kind of legal advice, and I think he would like to have taken that legal advice before he sort of pleaded guilty.
My own car, no fucking false reg plates on it, and I parked the fucking thing outside.
And you're coming up for trial shortly. Yeah. That'll be a plead guilty, I suppose.
Can't fucking deny it.
Here comes Dominic.
What to charge you with?
Attempted robbery.
Without firearms, though?
Without firearms.
Was a
you on CCTV?
No.
You couldn't really prove it was you then?
I've admitted it now.
You shouldn't have said anything, no comment.
Of course.
Of course, the legal loophole.
Considering the amount of trials he gets off, even what we spend with him, it shows that basically, his advice is one to be taken.
Oh, and he took his own advice very often. But
I had to do what I had to do.
Desperately sad. Now, this is the window into the character. Little Paul is developing and simmering here in the background. And he kind of is the children's conscience throughout the whole film, isn't he? And then one step removed is Bugsy, and then of course there's Sean. Different layers of that latent victimology, latent adulthood, latent criminology. Is it going to happen? Is it not?
I think
you invest hope in this and despair.
I think with Paul, it's that he's always there on the outskirts, and he's always sort of within that world. And you see slowly. I think there's a shot later on in the film which will point out where it's finally he wants what they've got.
But although we think it's about gangsters, it really is about children. For me, the film kind of and it's evolved in a kind of voice all of its own, kind of nearly externalized from all of us in our work we did. But it ends up being a kind of Oliver Twist, Dominic's the part Pied Piper, part Fagin. There he is now. This is
So our choice of music as well should be explained at this point.
Well, you just said all the fish died out of the fish tank, yeah. That's fish tank we saw in the first scene. Now, yes, of course. Well, you couldn't go to Manchester. I love Manchester. I just think it's just such an incredibly beautiful city. The dark sky, grey against the slated roof, with the cobbled back streets and alleys. And I mean, this looks like to me like it's a kind of an album, And
Fuck off! No, you're pissing me off now. Why? You're pissing me off.
Again, it's another reminder to the audience that Dominic is performing one for the camera, maybe, and also there's a latent aggression there. So you take the choice of less, notwithstanding the crimes he faces and the dangerous man he must be. But when he starts aggressively shouting, you think, yeah.
You see it turn suddenly, don't you? And you get an insight into.
But on the music, we had good debates about the music, though. But you couldn't do a Manchester film of this time without Oasis.
No. I think this. Yeah, this is. I remember this. I think I was up on.
You shot this.
Up on my own at this time, and I think the next 3 or 4 sequences literally all happen within the space of a couple of hours, and it was literally. It was funny. You'd get in a car with Dominic and his crew, and of course you'd be filming. And then you'd film them getting in the car, you'd film them in the car, you'd film them getting out, and then you'd get out the car and you'd realise you'd have no idea where you were whatsoever.
I went to a lady's house who just phoned me to say that her husband has been tapped with an hammer. And the guy who's done it is also...
This is the alternative parallel justice system, which is similar to the justice system that the IRA run in Northern Ireland, and of course it's kind of imported from paramilitary organisations and also from prisons as unofficial kind of rules of engagement. And I think it's unacknowledged by the police. It's why they perhaps try to ban the film. But criminologists and forensic psychologists understand this, and they recognise that this is how societies work in some parts when they have less confidence in the police.
Or other arms have almost forgotten about them. And it's,
Going to the police, many in the community here rely upon gangsters like Dominic to solve their social problems.
Relax, Steve.
He bit my arm and he twisted it and tried to snap it. Right? Then she comes screaming like a banshee. Blah de blah, said whatever. Do you know what I mean? He's come with an hammer to the front door. Cracked him with the hammer.
Really,
yeah.
Who fucking killed you, that blow to the head?
I always wondered when Dominic was doing these sort of social working, shall we say, I always wondered whether he received any payment or what the sort of incentives were. And this sequence, I think I got my answer for the first time.
Dominic promised to sort the man out and was rewarded with breakfast.
So works for breakfast.
Yeah, it does, yeah, feeds his crew, Of course, his crew was changing as they got locked up for various offences or were kicked out of the gang. The music was budget in the film was £180,000, and it really, we think is really important, but it's a killer trying to make a film. It is just utterly painful. One, how the music companies work, because they're so slow.
Sorry to use commercial music, because this music was...
with this particular track was
actually composed, and it works very well. It's good, very good.
Robin, fantastic, amazing. In fact, Robin was a barman and worked with Lizzie, our secretary, part-time camera person, accountant, production secretary, researcher,
manager,
AP, everything.
Producer.
Now, Mike Turnbull shot this, yeah.
A 16-year-old boy is being threatened and the family call in Dominic.
Now look at that intensity. He actually, what he would do when it comes to a crime, he would kind of interview all the people, right? He would talk on the phone, he'd actually go to the source, he'd kind of have a little notebook or whatever, and then resolve it, and or have words. And again...
Paul is on the fringes, as ever.
Paul, yeah. Food. I mean, he's probably the most eloquent image in the entire film, and he never speaks a word, maybe once. I think about related to school, but basically that's about it.
Yeah, that's right. No, this is. I think this scene shows perfectly Dominic's relationship with the police, or kind of the power that he has in the community.
Now, this is in Sheffield, and the police there weren't too aware of Dominic, but he's been brought in to help out a travelling family. Boyfriend is going out with one of the mother of the baby, and the grandmother won't let the baby go to spend time with here's the mother, and she's very distraught, and it's family disputes. But Dominic comes in, police are called.
But again, it's their whole approach to something like this, and it's very organised. They don't just sort of steam in and leave it, so they sort of hang back, watch it, and then...
This is now ahead of the anti-smoking legislation. Look at that. And little vignettes of this tell us the community, the streets, It's so evocative. I think it looks back to, for me, they remind me of kind of 1920s, 30s, 40s, shots around football grounds in the terrace. But it's the reality. Now watch here, as they're pulling out, the police come.
You're right, kid. You've caused some problems tonight, haven't you?
I think there's a next shot, a kind of Madonna, kind of mother and baby shot there. They're just...
Got fucking lost, if you ask me. They're looking for strange ways, aren't they?
He's always excited to see a prison van.
He's escaped and broke into a few of those in his time. When
the Noonans in great gangster tradition.
We dropped a scene from there. We didn't have time, and in the scene, he ends up.
I hope you don't mind me asking you this.
Oh, well, save this.
There's a hint of lavender about you, Dominic.
Lavender.
I have to ask for everybody, I think, where that question came from.
Well, I was
a hint of lavender.
We had a bet in the office with Michael Simpkins, the exec, about whether he was gay or not, and we had constant debate. Now I figured, well, maybe he is, maybe he isn't, but I'm going to ask the question. And when we were arranging a shoot here, I was thinking, where am I going to ask the question? And I think, and I couldn't. I couldn't get the words out straight, and the words came out. Is there a hint of lavender about it? And
so, are you saying it wasn't? You hadn't sort of planned this question. It hadn't been penned the night before.
No, and I think the reason why it came out, because a lavender wedding I always heard in Hollywood was between two gay partners, who want to disguise, a man and woman who want to disguise their real gay lifestyle for marketing purposes, whatever. And so it came out. Interestingly, do you have? Is there a hint of lavender about you? Was translated by the French subtitlers. Now, always be careful of subtitlers, because if this is an indication of the translation accuracy, be very worried. It was translated as. So, is there a hint of lavender about you? It was translated into. I understand. You prefer bananas to figs. You figured that out, right?
As if it wasn't ambiguous enough the first time round.
Now, I had no idea that he was going to deliver us this extraordinary, aggressive brutality of his rapes and then his subsequent revenge.
No, because it was something that hadn't been spoken about before, and it was...
And I dealt with him. I dealt with him severely. I really hurt him. I tortured him proper. The best quality torturing could do. Just fucking knock the fuck out of him. I did things that he wished he never did to me.
Now, this is Alabama 3. I know Alabama 3. They did a lot of work with Mojo, Miscarriage of Justice Organisation, but of course did the music for The Sopranos. And I love their music, and it just smells and breathes kind of atmosphere and the junk of spit and sawdust and smoky rooms of this kind of criminal lifestyle.
I think we've, over the years, used almost every single one of their tracks.
I get satisfaction coming to a church and asking for forgiveness, and I believe I've just been forgiven for what I've done. I could just walk out of here and probably do the same again and just come back here. Obviously, you can't do that. The court say I'm sorry and they expect to walk away.
Do you have any consideration for the kind of victims?
I do, yeah. On quite a few, and I look back.
This is Dominic. He's a practicing Catholic, and talking to me, a non-practicing Catholic, and kind of the lifestyles he leads. I'm worried about that. Does challenge you about what does going to church mean?
Of course.
But being a Catholic, of course, you can commit your sins and forgive them, and then, as he says, go back onto the streets and do it again.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it's quite in the liturgy.
No, and I'm sure it's
it can't be the
not
lost
representative of the entire religion. But
except, I mean, the other, of course, the Italians, the Italian mafia, are great, churchgoers.
I think we could talk ourselves into trouble here.
As a non-practicing Catholic, it's all right. I don't care.
If I was going to do something like that, that person would have to have done something really bad. Not a silly thing, is something really, really serious. Then I wouldn't think twice about it.
Of course, ever the sense of humour.
How do you sleep at night?
Laid out on my bed straight.
Cheeky.
That reminds me, Dominic would always ask where we were staying.
Yeah, he was.
Where are you staying, Sam? Stay with me, Sam. Save the money on the hotel. Thanks very much. No, thank you.
Security vans.
People always felt that we must have either slept with Dominic to get the access, right, or that we were in love with him or he was in love with us.
I didn't.
I didn't.
Oh, there we go.
I don't know.
I'm glad we've cleared that up.
I think he did take a shine to you at some stage, but
inside it. And then we got.
Were you flirting with him?
Certainly not. I in fact, there's a couple of looks that he gives you, Donal. But I think they're still in the film.
Put it down. We're offering a cheaper service because I think.
This is where Dominic would always surprise you. Is that you never knew quite where he was taking you, and then he would take you to his own community police station,
offering protection, security.
Which
is just magnificent sight.
We serve to protect
and financial services.
This is the chaos of his real life, you see. He clearly had some degree of wealth. You never knew where it was, but ultimately when we finished film, he was driving a really expensive Jaguar before he got arrested.
That's right. Yeah.
But he and this takes money, but there was always a chaos involved. I think he's one of these people who could never really leave the poverty he was behind and would never leave the community. So.
I don't think he wanted to. I think that's he never had any sort of grand designs to leave that behind.
Your deeds in there, your passports, anything of value. Half of them will probably put drugs and guns in them. Be advised not to leave any money, obviously, because we'll not take responsibility for it. This is my undercover unit.
These guys were to see him through, undercover unit.
I think it's the first time we met these two, isn't it?
And they were to obviously go down in prison with him.
Hazard for Dominic's crew. There's a steady turnover of young associates. Aaron leads the new breed.
And Aaron, I always felt, was the most dangerous.
I think actually, the sort of the younger generation, they were definitely.
I mean, I've told this to Aaron, so I'm not speaking out of turn, Aaron. So when you see this, but he is very brutal. But of course, very difficult upbringing. Everything predictable. This is your moment, Sam.
All this food is paid for by me, by generosity again.
Are you eating that, Sam, or what?
No, that's not a come on. I don't know what was. Oh dear.
Needless to say, I enjoyed the sausage and chips.
Food was the key theme, a key theme.
It was never far from his mind, was it? Food. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Now, we shot this, and we weren't going to include it, and we kind of nearly lost it. They nearly forgot about this, didn't we? And we found it, and it was...
I mean, it's probably a good opportunity to describe how we... Oh, hang on. This is very bad camera work, because I was genuinely scared at this point. This was... Who is this guy with a balaclava? And where are we, Donal?
We're near the family house, but we're in southwest Manchester. We were first time we met a hitman, his reputation went before him.
But, you know, we do look after each other. We look after our friends. We come out at the end of 3 or 4.
It wasn't long after this he asked me. I seem to remember where I was from.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, we went from here. Cameras were asked to be turned off. We went to another flat, and was his wife there? Somebody was there.
I think it was his sister.
And he said, "Sam, where are you? Where are you from?" And he said, "You said, oh, I'm from Holland. Killed a Dutchman once. Make sure you're not the second. I mean, he was a dangerous man. He was. At that stage, he was off the crack, but he was on and off. But he was shooting wisecracks every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It nearly got tiring.
But I wasn't sure how much of it was a joke when he said he had killed a Dutchman and make sure you're not the second. But anyway, to this day, I've made sure I'm not the second. This is the scene that we
lost and found.
Yeah, and found, and it's actually not a bad drummer. And I think it's an example of Dominic's. It never failed to surprise you, really, did he?
Yeah, every turn.
Because there's another scene which I don't think did make it to the film, when he goes to the chip shop.
And start speaking Urdu. And interesting, at the same time, no wonder the police, the community rests more support and confidence sometimes in Dominic, a gangster, than the police. At one stage, he's speaking Urdu, and at the same time, I was involved in an investigation called Secret Policeman for about 7 years, and eventually it was another undercover reporter, Mark Daly, did it into the Greater Manchester Police, where officers in the training school were wearing Ku Klux Klan hoods. And so when Dominic, a gangster, has cross community support and speaks Urdu with the primary ethnic minority in Manchester, and the police are wearing Ku Klux Klan hoods, then the problems with law enforcement in Manchester is all too apparent. How the hell did he get off this? Red-handed. Customs and excise catch 6 or 7 gangsters, hoodlums with red-handed, involving 2 of the country's most senior gang family.
Yeah,
and they catch them red-handed.
And a lot of heroin.
Yeah, £600,000 worth of heroin. And one person was convicted and he fled the country. Shambolic investigation by Customs and Excise. Shambolic. It's not libelous, it's shambolic.
I remember the trial, and I think it was all the evidence was mobile phones, wasn't it? And the sort of the excuses for how they were accounting for their mobile phone to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
But why would they give him bail? Every time Dominic would get bail, how would he get bail? It's preposterous. I mean, why would magistrates give bail for people who are caught red-handed with £600,000 worth of heroin? And that gives them time, and who knows what happened in this case, we don't know, to either generate up new witnesses, to kind of... you only need a thread of doubt to get off. And this trial cost millions and millions of pounds. But it was conducted by an officer, Customs Excise, who did his first ever major case. Why put a rookie officer, senior officer, in charge of a case involving such a huge amount in 2 of the country's biggest crime families?
And it cost the taxpayer a lot of money, didn't it? I mean, what did the trial cost in the end?
I think it must have cost over $5 million. But don't worry, Dominic wasn't out of pocket. He got his expenses back. No, he was also spending his time in a traveller's site and nearby. And I remember giving you a bit of avuncular support there. Well, I tell the story. So I said to Sam...
This is a lesson for would-be producers on how to accept a compliment. But sorry, do carry on.
So I took Sam aside. I said, Sam, remember... this is Sean Poe's track. Yeah, we got this composed. But I said to you, Sam, that's a really listen. You really improved your DV filming since filming in the Traveller's site, and I'm really impressive and well done, man. You're doing really well. And he took the compliment and said, thanks very much, Sam. But I think you should remember, Donal, you shot that, which I did.
What I meant to say was thanks, Donal, and take the compliment, of course.
Yeah. Anyway. So he's gone to get his money.
He did get his expenses back, didn't he?
He was indignant. I'm going to get my expenses back. You think he was guilty? Who knows? Leave it to the viewers to decide. Take their own view. We were scared. Scared.
Yeah, we hadn't known Dominic, and we sort of
still scared.
That last trial that you just saw was in London, and as soon as it finished, we went up to Manchester with him, and we arrived at this party.
He practically admits his guilt here, does he?
I thought it was a load of money. I'm talking a load of bullshit. Who gives a fuck? Enjoy yourselves. Eat the food. Don't wait for me because I've just had some chips on the way up. This is dedicated to the customers and ex-lads.
Suspicious minds. Of course. There's a very poignant moment coming up here, which for me was very significant. It shows relationship with Bugsy, and also sees Sean, the singer, begin to come out as a character.
He looks so young there.
We all do. We've fucking aged, haven't we? Now, I love this. It's just a touch of fatherhood there, you know, just like... On a good day, he sings very well. The old crooner, eh? And Mandy, that's Bugsy's mom. Fantastic mom, very, very thoughtful. There's Bugsy.
Well, this was just shot, you and I, with a DV camera
lights.
each, no lights. Pretty well covered, I'd say.
This was badly shot by me again, DV. But I brought an assistant from who's in the company here?
Hammerhead. Probably.
Hammerhead,
yeah.
Who was, I won't name, fucking terrified. And actually, terrified.
I'm not surprised, Donal. This isn't your usual. This isn't Battersea Park.
I only asked him to put up. I only asked him.
I mean, this is one way to light fireworks, isn't it?
I mean, that was a missile. But Dominic was giving free food, free music, free fireworks, free alcohol, free pop,
and
free advice,
and free third-degree burns if you're unlucky. But I think that
it's Paul again, beginning to kind of assert himself as a character.
I mean, it's actually a commercial, isn't it, for how not to play with fireworks?
Yeah,
really.
I mean, just chucking them in.
Very visual, though.
I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, get close with a camera, and a face like that, you can't go too far wrong.
It's a great shot.
The people of Salford and Moston, his family's strongholds, are well aware.
This is a parking concession he has around, and some of the gangsters have around various football grounds and venues in Manchester. And here's Aaron emerging as the kind of next generation.
This guy's the biggest drug dealer in Manchester, mate. He keeps on.
I think he took Dominic's motto. They serve and protect, and he just serves.
Carving out his own reputation as a drug dealer and wannabe gangster.
Grass out you, Michael. I was getting arrested, never gets charged. Wonder why.
You know what it is with him? He's known as what you call a sweet grass.
Do you mean a sweet grass?
He says things pretending like, oh, no, but then the police get to hear about it.
Sure.
I'll say on camera he has slept with me.
Don't chat shit.
You know, when you hear the word free sweetgrass, we've had so many filmmakers and writers ask for the raw rushes, which we refused, because, you know, you can't, you know, Irvin Welsh, you can't write this dialogue, and we spent so few people get a chance to spend some time with them. I was...
Cakes, being serious now, fuck the camera. Who's at me cakes now? Someone has at me fingers.
I had one coconut cake.
Why? To my cakes. You didn't ask for permission.
This is one of Dominic's campus scenes. He says that all his mates find it the funniest one, but he's just annoyed.
He's annoyed because he lost his cakes. Oh. But yeah, you were saying that many film producers have asked to see the rushes just to get, I guess, a handle on the vocabulary that they use. It's always changing, and
we have been offered, and we are considering and working with an American production company to potentially make a long-form dramatic feature on this, and we don't want to rush it, do we? Really?
Better looking, get right.
I am better looking.
Dom serves and protects, we just serve.
But the problem is, it's just hard to know how you could do a better job than this. But there was a lot of the business done in Sundance was for people who'd done kind of Napoleon Dynamite, first-time short films, and even documentaries, Spellbound, and then brought them in some vision or alternative vision to screen as a film. So it may come to pass.
Now, I think when we were filming this over a period of 3 years, would that be fair to say? That we'd probably never envisaged that it would make it to Sundance. How was it received at Sundance?
Better than we could have imagined. It's just a glorious place because you're sitting and watching a whole pile of movies. I watched 40 short films in a couple of sessions, and John Cusack is sitting beside you, and he's there with a film about kind of Amazing Grace. It was a film about his wife who died in soldier in Iraq, and it's a gloriously uplifting thing. Recommend it to anybody. Again,
and how did we get the film then? Just determination.
Well, yeah, I just kept putting it in. I mean, I was annoyed. I think we missed. I thought we missed a deadline, but we hadn't, and we got a call, and it was like I had a very bad day or death threat or something, and we got this news. But again, little vignettes like the Chinese kid looking out and the insights and reflection. This is the community they live in, you know.
Mm-hmm. And the crane shot, of course, which is
part of my thought of using crane shot is to kind of put a cinematic architecture in a documentary world. You know, we're not telling them to look out. We're not telling them to walk down, but we just capture the activity as it happens. Of course, except for this shot, when they're all coming, I said, "Listen, can I get a shot of you coming in the house?" So guilty as charged on this shot.
I'm sure that's not the first time, and certainly not the last time that will be done in a documentary.
But watch this now. This is what I wanted the Simpsons family shot, and that's how I shot it. And watch how comfortable they are on the sofa now. Watch this. Middle-class families they do have an oxygen kind of gap, breathing space they need. But this family, look at this.
They just have more sofas, don't they?
Is this the extended family? You always have a bit of a clan around you, don't you?
Yeah.
Very comfortable. You know, they're cozy. They're, you know.
Oh no! Oh look, Elvis Presley. You go, boy.
I mean, they are dysfunctional, but she's a good mother. Does her best.
That was always a very warm feeling when you were there as well, and you were always made to feel so welcome.
Well, you're always looked after. I mean, you get a lot better welcome there in most homes you would do as you went up the social ladder.
There's some good people knocking about. It's right to say that.
Yeah, I'm joking.
Is it difficult bringing up kids these days?
It is really. It's difficult enough when you've got
all the things that we want.
Mother and father. There's a lot of people that have a one-parent family. It must be a lot difficult for them. Very difficult.
My favourite cigarette moments. Never let it said that only French actors can smoke well.
We do our best to get what they can when we can get at them. They've not been brought up.
Ramsey would go mad now.
I'm not sure what that was.
Foxy, how many sausage do you want? Paddy can't work because he's ill. I can't work either. We do our best, you know what I mean?
I was on the phone to Paddy the other day. I said, "Paddy, get down to the movies. See Sean. He's in the movies.
Yeah.
You know, he hasn't been down." I said, "Paddy, for fuck's sake, if I'm proud of Sean being part of this, you got to get down there." I told him to give him some concessions, but he hasn't been down yet.
Still hasn't been down.
H to F is a pass.
Yeah, F for fool.
Every gangster family has a single. In our family, it's me.
Talk to me, tell me the signs.
I sing weddings, funerals, and acquittals. Mostly acquittals.
Dominic sponsors his.
But to get back to the point about the putting a cinematic architecture on the world, a lot of as it happened by accident, a lot of the DV stuff reflected the chaos in the world. The film kind of organically found its own voice, but by putting a cinematic, put a cinematic architecture where we could on environments which were predictable, like when they go fishing later on, or the funeral sequence, and some street scenes and rooftop scenes. You know, you do allowing the audience to breathe. But I also thought that by using those cinematic tools, you're asking the viewer to pull back from interceding with the morality of the film. You know, if you're watching The Sopranos, you're not going to say, "Oh God, he's a bad person." You're just living and breathing with it.
Well, I think that's possibly where, and it's going back to sort of the reviews that perhaps it's received in this country, is that perhaps it's those shots that they're talking about that they feel that it's, I don't know, unnatural, and they'd rather that the whole thing was shot badly on a DV camera. But
well, I think it's a beautiful world, and wanted
exactly
where it was beautiful reflect that. Again, this is where in the cadence of the film, Bugsy's now taking his voice. Now, anything he doesn't know about anybody else is he died. 7 major people in his life, kind of male role models, friends, Mandy's partners, uncles have died by violent means. So that's very tough. So we found ourselves in the world becoming surrogate dads, surrogate uncles, and playing the role of dad for maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes a day. And we're still very close with him, and we have spent a lot of time with him, continue to film with him. And now that we stopped filming, he still comes down to the house. And I think it's important because we still, having been brought up without a dad in my family with 5 kids, you do recognise that boys seek out father role models, male role models.
I'm not liking it. No, I'm not going to pass it in. Just went about.
We shot this. All the good shots in this was yours. I was still struggling.
He had a bit of conflict saying he was going to do this.
We couldn't believe what we were hearing here.
No, it was.
Said, you got to bring it. Come and do
extraordinary.
A transcript of this interview is now part of the GCSE English syllabus. I know this because I gave it to the Guardian. I got a cheque for 25 quid. But it's extraordinary. The honesty and integrity here. I'd said to him that I would only broadcast this honesty when he was in prison for other offences, because the police would have no appetite to prosecute him, which they proved to be.
And it was a pretty safe bet, wasn't it?
Always in prison, of course, in prison now for another 4 years.
You know what we'll do to him.
Okay, you shot that, yeah. Sal did a great job on that.
DV stuff holds up well.
I was shot actually in daytime, but we turned it into black, into nighttime.
Manchester Police.
This daytime. Nick Manley. Fantastic work.
They claim are terrorising the community. Aaron is unmoved.
Yo, is that Chippy open up there?
I want my money back. I'm down here drowning in your bag. You got me on my knees praying for everything you lack.
We took a certain latitude, just in one shot. We just darkened it, just reflect the shadows for our musical sequences. Not much latitude from the documentary form, but it's just a breathing space, oxygen. It gives you the spit and sawdust of the world, the smoky atmosphere, and the litter, and gives you a chance to absorb the themes. Before now, we get a gritty DV scene, which moves on the story.
I'll go on to him, Phil.
Dominic Noonan, community fixer and gangland enforcer, tries to keep the next generation in check.
They've been fighting again, yeah? It happened the other day, fucking windows got broke again and fucking bottles. You're embarrassing me, I swear to God.
This is him on the phone to his nephews, is that right?
Yeah, this is Damien.
Oh, we got a better name than that. Fucking idiots now, innit? That's all they're saying about he's up that end, you're just idiots.
I'm not asked.
Not asked? Well, don't drag my fucking brother's name through the mud then, yeah?
What?
He was having to protect the name, and whenever the nephews misbehaved, and they're in jail, I think, some of them, and whenever Desi went off the rails, he would have to sort out with other gangland leaders.
So, what did Mrs. Roberts say to you then? I don't want you on my premises, I'll go then.
How long for?
7 days, she said. His face went dead red and started crying. And it was still red when I told the teachers that's
I told you stop messing about toy fighting before.
I think another scene that maybe didn't make it to the film, we learned that Dominic actually at one point had self-taught Paul.
Reading.
Giving him his own education.
He was teaching him how to read. This is for me, one of the most poignant moments in the film.
You're at the top A, and little dummy you were, you're at the G.
Paul's on Z then, innit?
This is moments of humour, which are directed and it's kind of taunting.
It's the final look, isn't it?
And he's just quiet, he's absorbing, and he got kicked around all his life. And now, by somebody, here it comes.
Hated that school.
Somebody who he takes as a godfather, he feels kicked around again. Boom. Boom. Hold. One of the whistling Gino, our whistler, he's a dad, and for him, this scene, the pain, the innocence, and the kind of.
I think the goalkeeper's got to do better here, though.
The innocence of his.
This is the shot that we were talking about earlier, where you finally see Paul actually sees what it's all about, doesn't he? I think that's one of my favourite shots of the film.
And the greyhound, my father's a rider, loves that shot. Again, where else are you going to get it? Now here. Ooh. And the look up, look. Oh. See the breathing oxygen spaces.
I remember we filmed here quite often, and I do remember one crew member once, I remember saying, I'll go and get some coffees. And, we're in a North Manchester, there's not a lot about. And I remember them asking, that the crew member will remain nameless, asked for a skinny latte at this point.
Yeah, it's like, are you kidding? It's going to be trickery around here.
I think they got an instant.
Well, you can tell the area of deprivation because the nearest Starbucks is about 10 miles away. That's the area up and down the country. You can measure the wealth of an area.
Exactly.
Now, this is again putting a cinematic architecture on a documentary world. We didn't tell the guys what to do. They were going fishing, right? And off they went. And we're shooting across the canal, and we have one crane dipping into their conversation.
24 years as well.
And off they go.
Oh, but he's been eating all sorts. Probably.
Well, I think it was where possible. Were you always trying to sort of lift the production
when we had cash, but accidentally, I think, on moments like this where we did have cash. It gave us
for myself. Like an armed robbery, for example. I couldn't do that, man. I could get you put in prison. I prefer to get other people to do it for me.
Now this is a dialogue which you would dream for. Now actually, when the crane pulls off for the final shot, what he says is in sync.
And I do. Yo, sure you get. So I'm gonna be a singer, become a millionaire with me voice. And then I'm going to buy up all the pubs and clubs in Manchester. And then I'm going to design my own train, design my own plane, buy a pink Hummer.
He's in sync there.
A Range Rover and my very own boat.
Now, we're across the road. That you won't.
Like Abramovich with his big fucking...
I mean, this is in sync. That is basically letting them speak and then filming them in a cinematic fashion.
Family issues.
If people said, are these kids prepped? You're saying, listen, if I can write dialogue like that, then I'll be in Hollywood as a scriptwriter.
Underworld figures in the city.
Yeah, great stuff.
He's probably on the rock somewhere. He's disappeared. He comes out when he's got no money, and then manages to get some.
We'd heard that Desi had been involved in kind of some £300,000 cigarette haul, taking it from another gangster family, and that they'd contacted Dominic. We'd heard this not from Dominic but somebody else, so a rumour or gossip. But apparently he, because of the Noonans were so strong, he was given a by the family, but not again. They said, So they turned a blind eye to Desi running off with £300,000 worth of cigarettes. But he was very on and off the crack.
They're always born liars, them kind of people.
And Dominic never actually did drugs. Did you ever see him do spliff? I've never seen him spliff.
No. He didn't drink much either.
No.
So this is trial number 2.
Now, listen very carefully to the offences which we'll outline at the courthouse. We never put a moral judgment on Dominic at any stage, right? But we give the full facts on every allegation the prosecution make, and it's up to you to decide whether he gets off or off the trial, whether he's capable of that. And I think so. We leave it for the court, everyone else decide whether if he's a bad person or if he's guilty. Or it's not our job. We're not the police.
That has been confirmed by the courts. They must have had a tour package. Must have got a cheap deal. More gold, the cheaper.
You know what? Here comes the allegations.
Defendants arrive at court. The judge was to hear that the victim was left with dozens of stab wounds, was tortured with boiling water, and had cigarette burns all over his body.
Now, of course, typical Dominic fashion, everybody else got convicted in that except Dominic. And even the victim got convicted because he was obviously allegedly intimidated to change his story. And he got 4 years in prison. His name was Alex Cunningham. And he's still in prison now. So Dominic runs free, if or not. But he said, I accept my phone was there, but I wasn't there.
That's right. And everyone else had said that it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And Dominic was quite clear that it possibly had happened, but he simply wasn't there.
The jury found him innocent, though he's innocent.
As the police depart, the young guns contemplate life with Dominic behind bars.
The difference is with Dom, he's got no one to work his back, whereas I've got all my grafters and all these. He's only got his family, you know what I mean? We've got boys and family. Straight away Dom goes down, I would take over at the end of the day, it would be mine. Everything would be mine.
He, of course, was to go down later with Dominic.
To take over Dominic's territory looks more probable as the absent witnesses...
Now, they were very nervous with us filming outside the courthouse, and although we were allowed in public property, very jumpy. I'm not entirely convinced whether the courts were pleased that we were able to shoot through the perspex window. I never did discuss that with them. They never did complain, but the police did try and ban this film in an early edition which appeared on 5, truncated when we first met them. And they took it to this court and they got an injunction which they got trounced at a court in London. But it wasn't Preston Crown Court. It's Preston.
Preston, yeah. And just for the record, we were filming from public property there. So
yeah, we were, yeah.
No, Paddy, it's not going on trial at the moment. I'm at court every
this was, where are we now? This is Dominic's bungalow, isn't it?
Yeah.
He suddenly acquired.
Paddy, I'm only doing my best for you, Paddy. At least you got a big cheque to come at you for Christmas.
Now, actually, that Paddy, by the way, is Sean's dad.
Who is it?
We found out later.
You're not expecting 20 years next week, are you? Hey, right then.
Fucking prick.
But this was a scary moment. He was setting the dogs out to chase us.
Torture and kidnapping trial are shortly to be sent out to reach their verdicts. The evidence implicating him in the brutal event.
Watch, even the dog is terrified.
But Dominic has an experienced legal team and remains defiantly optimistic.
Got them fucking dogs up.
Always had the best barristers, didn't he?
The dog retreats.
How did your barrister sum up for you?
Summed up very well. I was very surprised because he convinced me that I wasn't there. That's how good he was.
Do you think he convinced the jury you weren't there?
No, you never know, basically, whether he's telling the truth or joking. And that's why it's not evidential. But, you know, you get a hint, maybe.
He always flirted with danger, didn't he? And he
flirted with the truth. He did.
I always wondered how much he enjoyed the trials. Because, I mean, we were, during the filming, I think we were 3 trials, was it? And there was always a sense that he was enjoying it.
We got under a lot of duress from the police. One, Manchester gave me hassle because of
sensationally, the public gallery.
well, he was an intimidating presence. He was leaning forward like a prize bull fighter, and I mean, he couldn't. He was so big, Desi. He couldn't actually fit. He couldn't actually fit in the public gallery, the seats.
That's right. And he was eventually.
And he got kicked out.
Kicked out.
Gang guilty. But they could not decide on the fate of their crime boss.
As usual.
You never know with the juries. Like I said, they find guilty people innocent and innocent people guilty.
He's a theatre performer. He loves the court, but
I think he does.
His knowledge is he's so cute. He feels the sway of a jury, like, you know, really like a surgeon.
Another movement set off, and I'm coming home.
I remember I was sitting next to the police officer that he spoke to when he said this.
You lost. You're a fucking rat.
And I saw the police officer's face drop.
Probably, yeah, it's the jury. I want to know where the payment is. Hello.
Always ever the gag.
Always a performer.
But the police were gutted here because this was, again, a huge trial. And it crisscrossed every legal nicety, ethic. I mean, it's the most incredibly comprehensive case.
And there were eight defendants, and I think they would have been happy had they got him and all the rest had got off. But
they got
of course,
convicted.
it was the other way round, wasn't it?
Can I have a bottle of Beck's, please?
Now, we were getting nervous here because he turned up and he prepared. He wasn't always prepared to speak to us. But this time he just did.
Yeah.
Was he cracked out of his head this time?
I think so.
It's not we have luck, it's just the jury believes that we're innocent people.
Will someone ever take a Noonan in Manchester?
I hope so. I hope it's me first. I'm fucking fed up. I'm fucking fed up and I've got no money. Not got a pot to piss in, got a shitty car, married, kids, mortgage, fed up. If you anyone thinking of setting the Noonans out, can you make me first, please? Please do it as quickly as possible. In fact, I'll even come to you if I have to. Just give us a phone call. I'll meet you anywhere you want and make sure it's behind the back of the ear and it's fucking clean. And don't let me linger for fuck's sake. I'm a whinging bastard. But please make me the first. But in the meantime, we're going to set Dominic before me and you can have him.
I mean, those jokey soliloquies just went on and on and on. Anybody in his presence said, that's the Desi.
That's
Noonan we
Desi,
know."
and it was constant, wasn't it?
And if they did, by God, there'd be some fireworks.
And we filmed this very shortly before he was actually killed. Yeah.
Guns in the police, silly bastards. I'm down to 25 murders. Well, a load of bollocks, innit?
24, wasn't it?
No, I didn't do 24.
27. And you know, the police believe that.
How many was it alleged?
Which is why all the guns came up and all the police.
They reckon 20, 30. They reckon, I'm behind them. They reckon I'm behind most of the murders in Manchester.
And are you?
No.
It's difficult to engage him in conversation because you don't want to say, like, say you're a scumbag murdering guy, obviously dysfunctional guy, and you want to also hear the story and the nervous. So it is treading a line there between, you're clearly not condoning the behaviour,
No,
but you're clearly,
sure.
well, you just want to hear the story.
But I think a lot of the filming, especially moments like that, was just very observed. I mean, of course there were questions thrown in, but they were never leading.
Streets of northwest Manchester.
Interesting thing about Desi, he was also a member of Anti-Fascist Action, spent a great deal of time in the late 70s or 80s with groups like Searchlight taking on and beating up on the streets, often threatening with guns, the National Front and Combat 18.
Was he not? He and his crew not responsible for actually removing the BNP
from Manchester?
From Manchester.
He was also a Manchester United hooligan, as well as being a bank robber, and he was also potentially involved in the INLA and may have been involved in the Warrington bombing. He mentioned as much to me that he may have been, and he said, "Listen, I'll never be caught. If I'm guilty of a murder, I'll never be caught for a murder if I'm not caught in the scene." The minute this was happening, the minute he was stabbed and Dominic knew, he phoned me immediately, and there were recordings from this thing, and I drove immediately straight up.
Stopped, and as he opened the door, I just saw a man laying on there. I couldn't see his face. I didn't think that was Desi at first. Just then I saw all the police.
That's just shot Z1 against the wall there. I always liked the shots. Sally Hilton always hated them. I don't know. I just felt that because normally when you see shots like that, you don't expect it to come down in sync. You see, and I loved it coming into sync. And he was gutted.
His stomach was swollen up. It looked like.
I think it works for this.
I mean, he was a big lad anyway, but he looked twice the size. And then
when you first see the film on the big screen, you think, I'll reshoot every frame, and then you're rested and say, well, the film is the journey to voice then and there, and that's it, and you have to let it go.
And also I think it's important to, that we didn't plan our shoots. We were very much, we responded to what was happening in their lives, and you can't always get a crew, you'd run up with a camera and off you'd go.
And sometimes, though, when we were around, we did film if we were free. But we do, interesting, we give a little hint here that this was initially part of a original TV doc. Much shorter, obviously.
Short, and just days before he was due to feature in a fly-in-the-wall documentary.
Tonight, police said there'd be a large...
Again, there's shots from the day after. Within half an hour of the killing, Dominic knew who'd done it. And I was up there with him, and I decided, and I said, I'm going to try and find the guy. I said, Dominic, I think I'm going to find out. I knew he's going to find out, and I didn't want to be around when he found out, and then if he was looking for somebody. But I think the police also knew within minutes. And they took the guy into protective custody very quickly, didn't they?
And I think after Desi was killed, I think Dominic changed. He seemed a much more volatile character, and there was definitely a sense that you could be around for something you didn't want to be around. We had to make, the correct decision to not be there.
Now, I shot this, and I quite liked the loose and ragged nature of kind of moving the camera, and it was on sticks, but moving the odd pushes, and being comfortable. You don't have to see the lips move to know that it's coming from their mouth, and you can move comfortably in and out. By this stage, I did learn to work to take off autofocus.
Still auto exposure, though, I think, is it? Yeah.
Sorry.
A lot hell of a lot quicker.
We're like where he started. We're at the beginning.
See, I love when he comes in and
We're
out.
in the prime. You know what I mean?
You can keep the camera still even when the head moves. You don't have to move slavishly with it, you know.
Might be dead.
They're the original ones there where we've got it from. They're who we've watched and thought, we could do that, we'll try that. If they can do it, we can do it. Anyone can do it. We've got to set up balls, yeah.
But I think that's something that's throughout the whole film, is that there's a range of styles, but never afraid to experiment as well.
By accident, it kind of blends together, reflecting the kind of chaos of it. So, I think the film benefits from a great deal of the innocence, naivety of a kind of first-time feature film doc team. Me, as much as a director, and everyone else's contributions as well.
Sure.
10 grand each robbery.
Did anyone ever teach you the difference in right and wrong?
No one teaches us how to read. Never mind right and wrong. We can't read. We can't write. We can't money though. We're going grafting.
Remember, we're also doing the, kind of trainee soundmen, trainee filmmakers, and also the most acute thing is actually we're just nervous in that world.
Sure.
And we certainly don't want to hear anything we don't want to hear. So we kind of, if we ever get a hint that something was going to be discussed, we would have long evaporated because we can't be co-conspirators in that world. But our aim was to reveal the world, not expose it, and get it. And
style execution now looks increasingly likely to have been a stabbing after a row.
that was the kind of.
It was very important to maintain that, I think. 'Cause, I mean, there were occasions when I remember that time that they had filmed something themselves that they then asked if we wanted to see it, and we immediately said no.
We didn't quite. We said, we've seen films from actually want to see it, and we said no because we weren't going to contaminate ourselves with anything.
And also, then you start encouraging that kind of thing. And there was a very clear line.
The Friday night, Saturday morning at 7:45.
Sean emerging here as another character, but this is the great female characters in the world. There isn't many women in Dominic's world, but there are the women that are in it are strong characters.
Sure.
I just said, "You're joking." He went, "No, I'm not joking." I said, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. Just because I just woke up, you know."
He was a great kid, Bugsy.
Woke Paddy up and told Paddy.
So, little baby.
Watch Bugsy here. He's lost so many people in his life, and he's living it right now.
You that is bound to die. No, my trials, Lord, will soon be over.
As head of the family, Dominic is responsible for the funeral arrangements.
Naturally, as a performer, the pageantry was going to be emphatic.
It was going to be a big funeral, wasn't it? Always in the cards, and that's a pretty spectacular coffin.
It's got all the bronze handles, corner pieces.
They're the best ones you got.
You can't get anything better. Your lads are going to carry the coffin to the hearse.
Yeah,
and that,
my lads are carrying it.
Because he's quite a big man.
Yeah.
He's quite a big man, he's that sort of thing.
I mean, I think we accounted for how big the funeral was going to be, but I don't think until the day arrived we quite appreciated how big it was.
This is Russell, the funeral undertaker, and he, funeral director, great character, very dignified. I was always afraid he would never get paid, but he was paid. Desi had a funeral at a flower shop across the road, but didn't know how to run a flower shop, and nearly threatened people to give business. But and then he closed it down. But he
6 in the back. We can get an extra person in.
Oddly enough, I did an anti-smoking. He appeared in an anti-smoking commercial we did about the involvement of formaldehyde in cigarette smoke. Another story. Now we lost out in the music here, didn't we?
I miss it. It's a very good song still that we have. But
we got this commissioned obviously by our mate Robin, but we did have the Johnny Cash version of Pain. Was it called?
Hurt,
which is just extraordinary and we couldn't get the rights to clear it.
No, Dominic has a book that I didn't even know existed, and I'm going to get one. And we'll probably
whoever gave it to him?
I've no idea. And where would you buy that? And who wrote it? And you'll see the shot in a minute. So you know what we're talking about. I hope. Still in the film, isn't it?
Oh, the art of laundry.
I mean, there's a good few 20 pages there. I mean, yeah, I shot that. Thanks, Donal.
You know, and that, I think, is a manly. Now that's when reflective mood. And this is at the back of the of Russell's place, which is you know, it is shows you the kind of edge of death. It's always front of house is always much better. There's graffiti, broken windows, and it's and you can see the graffiti reflected there on the glass coffin.
And this funeral was, with the way it was filmed, was a lot of toys, shall we say?
We got all the cash out for this. We got the you directed the Steadicam.
We had a Steadicam.
Connor directed the crane shot.
Jibs,
Connor Morrissey.
Yeah.
And I had 2 PSC crews and on DigiBeta. With a high definition, but we brought it down to Digi for transfer. And that's your Steadicam shot, and it was just extraordinary. I mean, the cameramen we used were, you know, experienced World in Action, the country's top documentary cameramen, and they had the hairs in the back of the neck. They could not believe. This is my favourite shot. This is Nick Manley. He picks up a move. You'll see this.
Oh, and it's the guy's teeth.
It's coming up shortly, and he goes in and out of focus, and it's to be able to detect the focus naturally, knowing the gap, and moving it back. You'll see it shortly. It's the hair was on back and end. Little vignette there. Thinking, but hair was on back of the neck, standing up at some of the scenes that they witnessed. This is the shot.
A friend to the family sends a clear message to the murderer during the Requiem Mass.
Focus, lose, regain, and back again.
It's this where he ends up, isn't it? Some smile.
And there is no forgetting for the perpetrator. Wherever he
the skill in that shot.
That is my position.
Yeah, that's definitely not one of ours.
And then the death threat in the middle of a Catholic Requiem Mass, right? There is no forgiveness. Well, of course, the whole ethos of a Christian is forgiveness. Of course, he was a criminal. He had been a convicted gangster, the man who made the threat. There will be no forgiveness. We will not forget. Very little Italy-ish, very Tony Sopranos. Now, this band here was full of retired firemen and ex-policemen. And Desi, when the firemen were on strike in Manchester, threw them $5,000 for their fund.
The funeral is a chance to mourn and a chance to demonstrate their strength.
Russell.
You had to use the Steadicam shots here, because otherwise I think we would have been in shock. It's the only funeral cortege that you've seen with a Steadicam operator in
His
front.
relations have travelled from Ireland, the US and Holland to pay their respects.
It just went on and on. Of course, the police and everybody followed the cortege, but you tracked most of it for 5 miles with the Steadicam, and the band did stop at where Desi was killed and tell us
a rendition of
it was Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace,
and probably the world's worst.
Definitely the world's worst. If we have it on tape, yes.
The world's worst.
Definitely.
West Manchester.
I suppose people will be wondering why we filmed it in this style.
Again, this was trying to put a cinematic architecture on a documentary world, and to kind of confuse the audience, and to break them away from the facts, and just to live with the emotions, the cadence of kind of what was happening. Do not count his deeds against him, for in his heart he desired to do your will. This is what the priest is saying about Desi Noonan, hitman, flawed, and so.
Amen.
Flawed killer. And everybody was moved by this. We didn't know if he was going to sing. We didn't know what he was going to sing.
What I always find interesting is that there's a pause after he finishes, and then they clap.
Why would they clap? And it just is one of the things they should do.
They just don't know whether to clap or not. It's a funeral. Do you clap at a funeral? Do you? But it's.
Does Sean say I did my best?
And they say
nervous.
I'm finished.
And every highway, or more.
Paul, now this is a crossroads for him because he's mourning not just for Desi and for all the other people he's lost in life, but for every lost ambition, every insult, every belt, every kind of disappointment in his life, and he's had plenty. And we followed him on Super 8, and we knew that story was developing and may develop, and his red hair makes him stand out. He just, women weep. It does hurt when his story is our conscience, the conscience of the film.
I took the blows and did it my way.
Pause.
This is what the Telegraph complained when they said he was wearing a microphone. It's outrageous. What's wrong with having a microphone in a documentary?
It's beyond me. I mean, I always thought you should have a microphone if you're attempting to record sound.
Now, Sally really captured this essence now in the pause. This is the kind of part gangster mythology, the slow-mo and the reflection of, and the iconography we're all familiar with. And then, of course, little Paul, and who is consoled by Bugsy, but wants to be consoled by the main role model of his life, his godfather, Dominic, who is centre of attention and therefore the most important person that day. And he's being rebutted. And we show a couple, but he's tried many times, and it's just. And he kind of breaks down, and he really can't cope. I suppose it's the one environment where he was allowed to break down and show emotion, because he showed little enough elsewhere else. Sure. And watch as they go off, the three amigos, the Sean, Paul and Bugsy, and maybe when they're 21 we'll know if they went three separate directions of the same road. And there's little Bugsy. On this shot here.
Has been arrested and is now being questioned by police.
2 people have been charged in connection with Desi Noonan.
Yeah, it shows the scale, doesn't it, of the funeral?
Bath time. And it's the first.
This is when Dominic says, "Careful what you film here, because I don't want the RSPCA on my back," which I think would be the least of his worries. But
careful what you film here. I don't want the RSPCA on my case.
They say at this point as well that they've lost one of the puppies, which is, I believe, a metaphor for.
Transpired to be a kind of metaphor, really, for Paul. Yeah. Well, metaphors that came their own way.
Since the funeral, Paul has been spending less and less time with his godfather, Dominic.
And we were filming with Bugsy, and he turned up, and he didn't want to talk, but he wanted to be around the scene for a while. And then when the hood falls down...
Yeah, and he's got the haircut. It's just changed, isn't it?
It's changed now. He's gone...
So you were always asked quite your relationship with Desi. That was quite something that they always picked up on, wasn't it? It was just what you thought of
Desi. At the funeral, they always wanted me to say, television crews, was I pleased that he was dead? And I would say, well, I'm not going to celebrate the death of another drug-related death in Manchester. Given the choice between a death being a law-abiding citizen and a hitman, well, obviously you take Desi, but in the humanity, you can't celebrate anybody's tragic drug-related death. Of course not.
Good luck to him anyway. The amounts of people that have come up and told me how much they want to kill him.
Nothing. There's been enough killing.
It's only just begun.
Do you think he'll ever be safe, Derek McDuffus?
It's that's something I've always sort of crossed my mind many times, and no, I don't think he will.
Just 3 months after Dominic was acquitted of the kidnap and torture charges, he's been arrested again. This time on firearms charges.
Good evening, I'm Ian Kenyon. 3 men from Manchester have been charged with firearms offences after they were stopped by police.
Oddly enough, he's currently appealing, as he's appealing this subsequent conviction on this, and he may very well get out. He's already served 2 years now on this. A year and a half.
It was interesting because this was his third trial that we were around for, but it was the first time that he wasn't granted bail.
The arrest followed a long-term surveillance operation by Greater Manchester Police.
And it was also the first time that for the trial itself, that they had armed police officers outside. It was a real show of force.
Whilst awaiting trial, he has been designated one of the country's most dangerous prisoners.
It was almost as if they were determined this time.
Yeah. They put a great deal of resources.
I've gone up there on the fucking Sunday. I was under surveillance when they left my house in the morning at 8:30. They said they've had me under surveillance for months. They had police saying they saw us get out of the car, lift the bonnet up. And what kind of gun was it, Dominic?
I saw Chopper last night, and I would have shot the prison shots better having seen Chopper. This is the on Chopper Reed, Mark Chopper Reed, very much a character not unlike Dominic, which was played by Mark Bana, was it?
Eric Bana.
Bana, and phenomenal, a great actor, but phenomenal performance there. He said, "I'm just an ordinary kind of guy, except I like a bit of torture."
Yeah.
That's one of his key opening lines.
But that's an interesting point, because I think with Dominic, people again ask us what our relationship with Dominic was in terms of, do we like him, do we dislike him? I think you've recently expressed it perfectly.
Well, I just said I liked the nice parts of him, and I detested and couldn't understand those parts in which were capable of those kind of violence, So I couldn't ignore the charisma and humour, of course not.
No, of course.
And what did you? I mean,
I think that's where you hit the nail on the head, and I think it's something that needs to be definitely talked about, because
this is the innocent. No matter what he does, he's still got to be there for me. I love him, no matter what he does. The innocent. He's still, however imperfect your dad is, he's still your dad, and he's still, he's still my dad.
In all your time, how long have you spent with him? Like 2 years, because I've done fucking 6
You do feel like, even as a dad myself, mothering him and fathering him and kind of looking after him, he does invite parenthood.
It does make you wonder, where his kind of future lies as well, doesn't it? Especially.
I think he's going to be all right. He's going to fall off the wagon, isn't he? But he'll be all right.
Because we saw some of those guys, because we filmed over a period of 3 years, we saw some of those guys grow up and,
Yeah, and fall into the gutter, crack, crime, jail. Look, the innocence of that.
Where's he going to take you?
Anywhere where I want. You fancy doing them on holiday, Bugs?
Might be going to Jamaica.
Jamaica? Put me in your suitcase.
What?
Put me in your suitcase.
Which is the next film, isn't it? Dominic in Jamaica.
That is. Don't you start, you.
I want my family to be careful and don't tell people what they're doing, because it's their business, and you might say it to the wrong person, and it might grass you up to the police and get you arrested.
The innocence of that kid, and yet he is carrying the weight of protecting his dad from prison on his shoulder. There's a lot of pressure on a little kid,
So this was day one of the trial, wasn't it?
We couldn't believe the security.
I don't think I'd ever seen so many guns.
So then we're faced with how do we film a trial and the drama of it? And as it happens, the guys wanted to go paintballing, and it became a wonderful kind of filmic device to tell the story.
There was something
trial.
I wouldn't repeat, filming kids paintballing.
You end up being target
because
number one.
You are target number one,
yeah.
Of course. But
it was a mucky, cold day.
It was worth it.
I don't want you shooting dead people, he said. Yeah. At this stage, we'd run out of money, and I think on my credit card, was it your credit card?
It was my credit card. Actually, I must check the bill.
£540.
That's right.
Fuck's sake.
That's right.
Was it 540?
Something like that. Yeah. Which is.
And we could only afford about an hour worth of paintballs. And they were moaning.
We had to hire 2 cameras, and it was the very last. I remember having to buy coffees on a credit card, I think, at this point.
writing checks. We shot that, the pair of us, was it?
Yeah, it's just us two.
It came up all right. A lot of DV cam stuff came out in the grade, transfer onto film, as well as the digibeta, and as well as the high definition. The high definition we struggled with, and may have been technical
Too
failures.
many processes, I think,
my fault there.
This is the question you had to ask.
And myself and Lizzie Murray, researcher, production secretary, we shot this.
The jury returned their
and
verdicts in just 15 minutes.
You see that?
in Manchester was found guilty of possessing a firearm and ammunition.
And then we filmed this there, and then we had to race past them and get permission from to film as the cortege, the security convoy went to the prison. We had to get permission from the prison, obviously, because they didn't want to warn them. It's not a breakout we're planning.
They go around killing people, but not for no reason. For a reason, it has to be for a reason. Like, say if they owed them money or something like that.
With remission, time served.
So this is the actual van.
Yeah.
Old Dominic Noonan.
And, you know, it was rushing to get the shots, and he's a gangster.
But this film really was shot on a mixture of formats, wasn't it? It was everything. Absolutely everything.
Shot in desperation. And this is it, and this is the end of one story, and I'm surely the beginning of another. Boom, 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 boom. And there she blows, in memory of Chris Walker, our soundman, who tragically died in a delayed honeymoon on a skiing he did, and that's sad. And that's why I love Manchester, that skyscape.
Amazing, right? And the rather long list of everyone who at times worked for not even a skinny latte.
Connor Morrissey, thank you, Connor, great stuff. Really, everybody gave it the time, and they got caught up in in our dramas, and the Irish Film Board supported us. But we were, I can't believe it's over. I can't believe we've made it. Dave Malone, our executive producer, he'll tell you this. He lost his job, his wife, and his house in the same day, and our company went bust. And one of the original producing companies of this, and then they kept us. We brought them back, and we finished the project. So it's been through a lot. We lost our sound recordist, God bless them. Exec producer lost. A company went bust. People went to jail. People died, and life goes on. But ours will never be the same. What a crazy journey.
I think I'll always remember Manchester for different reasons.
Yeah, she blows.